The Orange Dungeon was rocking, the fans were jamming, and this game was slamming. Well, maybe not literally. Number 2, Rock Springs at number 3, Natrona, first quarter. Natrona wearing the white, taking advantage of the height on the floor. It took a couple of tries, but Andy Martin will get his shot to drop, and that will get the Mustangs on the board first, up 2-0. Being 7 feet tall has its advantages, and if you don't know where he is, you're going to get swatted. Chase Riley had to find out the hard way, but it was still early in the game. The home team had more than one big guy on the floor. Kyle Vintage is 6'6", and you're going to see a lot of him throughout this game. NC leads 4-0. Rock Springs eventually figured out that they needed to stay away from the big guys. Caleb Carter has 3 in his sights, and he'll drain one from afar. That has the Tigers on the board, trailing 4-3. The boys in black had a speed advantage, and they'd use it here. Carter quickly gets himself down the lane and scores before the defense can react fast enough. Visitors take the lead 5-4. Speed can kill. Davion Gibson runs right by his defender and puts 2 in along the baseline. That would push the score up to 7-4. The Tigers would put together the first big run of the game. This jumper by Carter would cap off an 11-zip spurt to put the Tigers up 11-4. Moving right along, Natrona was relying on the inside game, and they had the means to pull it off. Vintage scores again up close. That would nail the gap. Home team trails 12-8. But the opposition was quick to respond. Carter's going to launch another 3 and hit his target. That's a good way to answer. Tigers are still up 15-8. The boys in black had their own version of defense, and their speed would help them again. Gibson with the deflection, and then Zach Rosette will get the finish on the fast break. Rock Springs was looking good, up 18-8 after the first 8 minutes. Second quarter, Natrona would find their stride away from the hoop. Jordan Dick was thinking about it, and then he decides, what the heck? No one had a hand in his face. Mustangs down 18-11. That was just a sign of things to come. Here he is again, getting himself in position. Someone call a plumber because he's draining them. NC's right back in this game, down 18-14. Of course, sometimes they had to get 3 the old-fashioned way. Martin didn't mind doing the dirty work here, as he'll get the hoop, the bump, and one more. The lead is cut down to 3. It's now 20-17. The deficit can be erased with just one shot, and who do you think took it? Jordan Dick again. He had the hot hand. NC would use a 12-2 run to tie this game up at 20 points apiece. Later, the Mustangs were picking up the pace in their own way. Corey Peck bounces the assist to Kyle Murphy. He'll get the hoop and the hack. The lead has changed hands. It's now 25-23. They build on it, and when you want to build something, you call a carpenter. Cale Carpenter, that is. Natrona's now up by 6. It's 30-24. Rock Springs would slowly catch up at the charity strike, but taking advantage of a turnover would help. Jimmy Lee's going to provide the spark that his team needed with the pick and the finish. Now it's a much closer game. Tigers down 30-29. The visitors would get the momentum back right before halftime. This first shot is no good, but Gibson was there to tip in the rebound, and the boys in black would reclaim the lead, 31-30 going into the locker room. Third quarter, most of the action went back and forth for quite a while, so we're going to skip a few things here and there. NC would take the lead back as Jordan Dick scores inside to make it 35-33. Rock Springs would come right back. Rosette with 2 of his 23 points on this play, and things are tied up again at 35. Skipping ahead, let's get someone else in here. Cole Montgomery thought about the 3, and then he decides to settle for a long 2 instead. That would put his team back up by a bucket. Rosette was actually the one bringing Rock Springs back every time they were trailing. Here's another example, and now the scoreboard has a pair of 39s on it. The visitors may not have had much height, but they could dish out a few rejections of their own. Case in point, Gibson would send that shot to the wall, and Natrona would go back to the drawing board after that play. Still in the third, Tigers down 1, but then things started to get interesting. Riley's open in the corner, and he was doing what the bad boys do. That would put his team on top, 48-46 at this point. Here comes a little more defensive transition. Gibson will end up getting the rip, and then he'll actually get the bucket on the putback try after his teammate missed on the fast break. Rock Springs was up by 4, 50-46 going into the fourth quarter. The boys in black were going for the dagger in the heart early. Rosette's going to put on a fancy move for 2. He'll hit the deck, but he'll get the bucket and the foul. The three-point play would put the Tigers up 53-48. This next basket would mark a critical point in the game. Carter's wide open in the corner for three, and he'll connect. The visitors had a double-digit lead, 62-50, with a little more than 4 minutes left on the clock. If you thought this game was over, you were dead wrong. Jordan Dick would get things started with the running hook shot. Home team still down 10. It's 62-52. Then it was Vintage making another contribution. He finished with a double-double, 31 points and 11 rebounds. NC trails 62-54. Time for some defense. Jordan Dick with the deflection. He'll find Vintage on the run. Watch the finish on this lay-in. Rock Springs needed a timeout. That 12-point lead is down to 6. It's now 62-56. The break did not do any good. Peck may have been the smallest guy on the court, but he would prove that he would belong. Hoop and the harm. The Mustangs are galloping in full stride, only down 62-60. There was more work to do. Natrona would give it to the 7-footer. No good here, but Vintage makes the save to cap off a 12-zip run and tie this game at 62 with a minute 20 to go. Not much happened in the time remaining, but some fans had their dancing shoes back on because this game is going into overtime. In the extra period, we almost missed this one. Vintage had another highlight-type layup in him. The refs will give it one more. Mustangs take the lead 65-64. Rock Springs was in a drought. No field goals in 6 minutes plus. Gibson finally takes care of that problem with this jumper just inside the circle. Tigers go back up 66-65. The home team needed their big man to produce a little offense, and he would here. Martin comes through as this seesaw game tilted the other way. The score reads 67-66. About 1 minute to go. The visitors still had some speed left in them. Rosette burned several defenders on his way to the hoop. Tack on a few free throws, and the boys in black would go up 72-68. In the end, time would run out on Natrona. Murphy fires up a three at the buzzer and gets it to go, but when you do the math, it was not enough. Rock Springs would escape the Orange Dungeon with a 72-71 victory.